Hi everyone, it's Christmas Day and so I'm going to paint because I found time to paint. I'm using my silver black velvet. I only found my size 8 today. I'm using also Shinhan. It's all half pans. I found this on Facebook marketplace. Somebody was selling her slightly used palette, so I decided to take it. And I'm also going to be using just one pot of water, and let's see, usually I use 3, but I haven't washed. So we are also using watercolor paper from Corona. This is one of those 10 sheet packs at 55. So basically I'm spending $5.50 on this piece of paper. And when I paint, I love to paint and make floral wreaths. And they're my source of relaxation. So anyway, I'm going to be using, let's start with a tangerine type of color. Basically when I do florals, this is my this is my 2022 minimalist planner notebook. I made it a little bit more festive by adding florals to the cover page. I use the same paint. So anyway, when I paint, it's for relaxation purposes, and this is a good way to start. So so what I did was I just loaded the paper with a lot of color. I'm using the tip, and then I'm laying the brush flat on some surfaces. So flat. Okay, so I'm making C strokes, tip, flatten, and then back to tip. Okay, now I'm just going to add water. I'm not even going to add any more paint to the paintbrush. On the strength of what I loaded to the paintbrush, I'm going to keep making half circles around this floral until I get a semblance of a rose. I try not to repeat the strokes or go on top of what I've already painted. Since I'm using student grade paper, this paper doesn't take much repetition, or doesn't like being wet often on top of the previous stroke. Okay, so now I'm just going to build a side stroke type of floral there, just like that, and I'm going to let it blend into the last picture I made. And now I'm going to transition to a more yellow orange floral. I'm going to still do the same this stroke, which typically uses the side of my brush, so I'm side swiping, so to speak. And now I don't mind the blending or the movement of the water from one petal to the other. In fact, it makes it a little bit more organic, the way the colors are blending into each other. So I just added water for this one, and somehow to lighten it. There, mix it. It's going to mix, and that way it's just going to keep blending. Now I have an option to go to the brown side. I think I will. Okay, I'll move here, and these florals are going to be a little lighter, as watercolor how do you call them, as watercolor is all about water, not the color. The lighter you go, the nicer it is. So I'm just going to pretend I know what I'm doing. If you have questions, or if you want to ask me anything, or if you just want to continue watching on Christmas Day, you're very welcome. Just enjoy. Okay, so I'm going to make a type of wreath that goes all around the rectangular paper, and I've transitioned to a purple color there. So how are you guys doing? How has Christmas been for you so far? My family met last night. No, I'm sorry. Yesterday noontime on Zoom, and then last night, some employees, since they couldn't go home, spent Christmas Eve with us, and it was fun. I played games with the kids there. So right now these portions are drying, and as they dry, they will dry lighter, and there will be a maybe a 50% lightening of the pigment, or the kind of color you see right now. Okay, just going to keep doing these types of flowers. I call them the side swipe, and then I just add an extra line here, and that line that you see here is pretty much the perceived light source or highlight of that flower. Okay, moving on to a darker purple, or what people call violet. Maybe I'm going to be more messy with this one. I'm just going to dab and come up with a half circle, or what the circle should be looking like, but because it is covered in part by a flower, you only see parts of it, which is fine. So that's that. So right now this is what we have so far, and let's see how we go. Okay. Oh, if you'd like to share my live and learn a little bit more of this type of loose leaf painting on Christmas Day, I would appreciate it very much. Okay, so moving on. Maybe I can do a blue one. Yeah. What I do is like intuitive, meaning there is no plan at the beginning of the painting. I just go with the flow, and this is a good way to practice flow, to practice being in the moment, to practice accepting what comes out, what hands you're dealt. Okay. I'm also a motivational coach, so when I try to teach something, I have to live it, I guess. I know. So I'm moving on to all sorts of blues now, and it's looking a little bit like a rainbow like painting, floral wreath painting, but that's okay. I don't mind it. I actually like the color that results from moving through the whole palette that I have at the moment. Okay, so we've got this. I'm going, and maybe I want to shift to yellow just to break the dark portion. Okay, moving back to, oh no, well, I've loaded yellow, but I got a little green on it, so it's limey, which is fine. We will work with this. So let's make this a little bigger, and let's work there. So we've got, maybe I'll see if I can add some sort of gray into the mix. Okay. So the gray is your center, and then it just lightens to the other parts of the green there. And then I'll continue. Maybe for this portion I'll have a more lemony yellow. Still not as lemony as I want it to be, but that's okay. Okay, so we have this yellow going. I'll see if I can mix colors here. Let's see, I'll show you what I'm doing. I'm trying to mix another type of gray. So gray is pretty much red, yellow, and blue mixed together. Yeah, so the correct proportion or ratio of all three will give you a gray that you can be proud of. Okay, right now this needs red. See that? Okay, and I have got orange somewhere, so now it became a little brown, which means I'm going to mix blue. More blue. And you just keep going until you get gray. So there's the gray that I was looking for. I'm going to move it aside, and I'm going to water it down, okay? Which means I can only work with a little at a time, because too much of it will destroy what I plan. So right now I'm using the gray, pulling from the yellow, hoping to make some kind of long-leafed petaled type of flower. So it's pulling the yellow outward as planned. Okay. And because we are using watercolor, what really happens is that water will find water, and that's why you'll never know what you come up with unless you're really good at watercolor and being able to control where the water goes. Okay, so I'll just keep moving on. Here are the flowers so far, and let's see, what color can I do? You know what, I want to go and do aquamarine or teal, and maybe I'll add a little white. There we go, we have a color. And here I'm going to make the side swipe type of petals. Here you are. And let's see if we can add water. Okay, just water. If we add anything else, we either change the color or disrupt what's happening there. Later on, I'll add something to the middle. Maybe I will add a little black to the center and just let it mix on its own. Okay, so far so good. I'll switch to pink. Let's go happy. And here, let me add another rose. So I start with dropping as much of the paint that's loaded on my brush to the center. Then I start doing C strokes. Okay, I'm dropping paint still. And as I move, I make the C shape. Oh, this one's going to be very light, very quickly. So all I'm doing is adding water now, and hopefully some of the water will move. Okay, I'm worried if I tap onto that teal one, I'm going to get teal on my rose. Okay, I don't know why I got a little purple here, but I'll take it. Right now, it's a very welcome addition to the painting. Maybe before I leave that flower, I will add a little bit more to the center and make the pink stand out. Okay, I'll keep going. I can always do something to that later on. And now we have a slightly rosy hue right here. So I'm finishing off as much of the paint that I have here. Okay, for those who follow me, thank you. I'm actually an educator, so I take care of preschoolers. I'm also a preschool owner. I have 2 preschools in the south of the Philippines, and I basically give tips to parents, teachers, tutors, and see how they can improve on their teaching skills with their kids. So I'm going to go back to the purple and the blue. Maybe I can come up with periwinkle. Okay, I think I've achieved the color we need. And it is going to be a half circle again here. So some could argue that I'm using this as a filler. That's true. I don't mind it being called a filler, but it's a nice change from all the petal styles that I do in one wreath. Okay. In fact, I can make that bigger. All I need to do is clean my brush and use the water that's in my brush right now and just move the paint a bit. See that? There. So it becomes a little bit more dreamy, more diffused. Okay, moving on. I will have a yellowish mustardy color now, and I'll do the side swipe. Maybe I'll add another rose in a moment. Just add water. There. For a very yellow rose here. And then add water to diffuse what's happening. Just water. Make it a little bigger. Bit. And let's go for another kind of blue. Okay, so the teal I had earlier will resurface, but it will just turn into another half circle here. Then now just all water, so I can diffuse the outside section. Serves maybe a light pink or a light purple flower here. What we have is this. Okay, doesn't make sense at the moment, and that's fine. I'm going to add more flowers to the sections that are very thin, and I'm going to choose to go bright, like red. Spots because I have so much of it on my brush. resurgence of the mustard yellow here. And here. So the trick is to have leaves that are peeking from some spots, and these spots will be now very much covered. It's not, at least to my point of view, not what I like when it's time to put leaves, you know, to have spaces in between that are bold. So now I'm going to add triangular like leaves peeking out of the rose. At this point, I'd like to you know, give you an idea that what I'm doing is from the point of view of somebody looking at from above. So you only see parts of the leaves that are peeking. Okay. So maybe the flowers will get all sorts of green leaves. I'm not usually going to make the green the same for all. I will probably add all my leftover paint, and so you will get an interesting looking painting. Okay, let's see, maybe this type of green. See, the strokes are messy. For people who think that painting should be neat and tidy, up here, I was once like you. Now I could care less. I'm being truer to myself, and in this way it is all very I mentioned before, natural, organic. I'm not following rules to make other people happy. I'm just painting. And this is actually a philosophy of mine when I coach. Okay, just be organic, just flow. Just see what can happen when you allow. So this is a little sagey in the sense that it is green gray. There. And now let's go for a hunter green. happier green, something with a little more yellow in it. Maybe here. And then we can just, you know, go and make lines like fern. These lines are doable by anyone who can write with a pen. There. And if you'll notice, I keep moving my paper around. That's to give the other sections of the paper a chance to dry, and I don't mistakenly brush my palm or the meat of my hand on the paper and feel terrible about not being more careful. Okay, again, turning the paper around. And now let's go for a lighter, happier emerald green. I'm letting the paintbrush shape the leaf, but if like now I don't like how it looks, I'll just fix the tip myself. There. I have a lot of this type of green, so I am going to use or make another leaf, another stem of leaves. There. Okay, so some greens are light and some greens are very thick. No, sorry. When I say thick, I meant the consistency. So the paint gets a little creamier, and you know, if you want to go consistency, it feels like butter more than milk. Spreadable butter. So I'm also varying the size of the leaves. That way there's variety and interesting looking focal points to the paper or to the painting. There. So in some moments you see dark, some moments you see light. Do that type of fern here on the other side. I see lots of space. up with a little happier green, a limier, apple-ier green right here. Doot. Yak. Well, we can live with it. And then maybe a few leaf, stemmy looking, and just add leaves like so. There. Remember, with so much foliage, do you or your friends know the names of all these plants and flowers, and can you recognize them all? Chances are no. So there could be flowers that they don't know about, even leaves, and that's the fun of it. You can create anything you like, and it will still look pretty. Okay, so now I'll do a little gray green again. It's turning out to be olive, not quite the hunter green, but this is still a respectable one. And so we keep going. If you have a question, just let me know. I'm just enjoying the silence. Of the afternoon. Of the Christmas afternoon. I think I will add berries. So you start small, just in case. See that? You start small so you can go bigger. And use the tip of your brush, otherwise it'll just get worse. So I'll do the rule of threes. I'll put 3 berries at the very least, or odd numbers, in one grouping. So those are the 3. Then here I'll add try not to go and make a straight line. Them in different locations on your sheet, finding bald spots in there, and that's how I'm going to create visual candy. Okay, those are just 2. Put the 3rd one here. Cherry berries. Oh, hello. It looks... Oh, thank you, Bettina. Thanks for watching. Okay, I'm making a wreath. Sorry, I just noticed you now. I was busy painting. So I'm still adding leaves to the bald areas of my work. I don't like empty spots, and so I try to create interesting sections. If you have a question, let me know. Savior, hi. I'm painting. Merry Christmas. Just keep... I move my painting all around because I don't want the palm of my hand to hit the page or hit a section that I cannot fix. If you have a question, let me know. My TikTok is about early childhood education. I'm an educator, but since it's Christmas and since I love to paint, this is watercolor, I decided to share my me time with the TikTok community. Okay, so until you ask me a question, I'll probably be a little quiet, and hopefully I see the comment when I look up. But I welcome all comments and suggestions and questions. Hello to Parkley. Hi. So I am painting just a normal floral wreath. I'm not necessarily I don't have a theme for it. It's not like for Christmas or anything. It's just a typical floral wreath. So now I'm adding, oh, for those who just joined, I have half pans and I'm using Shinhan, and I'm also using, only today anyways, a number 8 silver black velvet. And if you like what you're seeing, thank you for your attention. Okay, I'm adding brown to my green, so, and I'm diluting so that I get very, very watery gray, green, brown background leaves. Again, I don't like having what's this? Having spots that are bold. I like covering them. Do you guys paint? Are you into painting? I'm also into journaling, and I'm also into meditation and self-care. Okay, so I'm just adding extra leaves here and there. Nothing major, but maybe bigger. I'm just cleaning out my brush. My pot is turning very brown. I'm going to remove the paint like that, and then I'm going to lift the paint from here. I find it a little watery. I'm going to leave that way. Just very light and airy, and in the background there. So I still see some bald spots. Just add thicker leaves, but very backgroundy, if I can call it that. Just leaves there, hardly noticeable or hardly anything you can discern, but they're there, taking space. They're just bunny ears, so doable stuff. Here as well, since I see space. Okay, so there are things you diffuse, and then there are things that you darken and highlight to become focal points of your painting. How do I do this? This way. There. Maybe that's enough. Now, what I plan to do is add maybe a center to most of the flowers. I will do a gray-black center. Okay, and all I plan to do is really just dab and dot the pollen into the dry sections of my painting. Okay, some warrant a big circle, some no. Additional dots farther from the center, like that. Not all flowers, maybe just a few, and then there are others will just have very centralized dots. Okay, since they have the same swiped effect, I figured they're probably the same types of flowers, only different in color. So we will just try to lighten some dots so they don't look like long lines, and then I will also turn my paintbrush around. Okay, turning the paper, finding more flowers to do that too, and then we will try to spread the black a bit farther away. This one I'll put everything in the center. I won't have a black dot around it. going to use hunter green to go around. Now that I have the hunter green there, I'm going to clean my brush just in the water pot or the water well. And then, because my brush is clean, I'm just going to move and diffuse the paint that I just added by dabbing. I'm just making dots there. So I'll let that darken a bit, or sorry, I'll let that dry a bit, and I will darken it using another round. Okay, now that's drying. I'm going to get a brown, and I'm going to find ways to connect the berries to something. Okay, so it's a brown. Maybe I should darken it. Maybe make it a little browner, blacker twig. I'll go back. There. And then okay, I think I'm done. Here is a Christmas wreath. No, I'm wrong. Here is a wreath I made on Christmas Day. And I think I'm happy with it. I hope you enjoyed and were a little, what's the word for it? Calmed and relaxed as you watched me make this. Let me see if I can give you a better picture of the finished product. There it is. Thank you for watching, guys. Merry Christmas, everyone. Bye.